Gen Z rebrands laziness as stay-at-home sons, just like they did with quiet quitting. But let's be honest, the real crisis is in the feminization of men. Young women want families. Too many young men want DoorDash and mama's basement.
It's a major problem. And you know, Speaker Johnson has been talking about those maybe deadbeat folks that are on Medicaid, and maybe some of those folks are the stay-at-home sons. We don't know. But I'll tell you this, leave it to Gen Z to rebrand laziness and social awkwardness as something cutesy, like a stay-at-home son. They did much the same thing with quiet quitting, where you can go to work and do less. And if you call it quiet quitting, it's somehow better. But Laura, I got to tell you, this is also a big problem when it comes to, I think, declining birth rates, people not getting married and having children. Rates. You know, that's
the issue with declining birth rates is women are not prioritizing family. Women are prioritizing their careers in their child-rearing years. That's the reason why you have declining birth rates. You're not going to have as many kids if you start having kids at 30, and that's even if you ever start having kids. Tommy Lauren is 32 years old. She's a prime example of a woman that prioritized her career over having a family. She does not have any kids. She's sitting on here as a talking head saying that women want families. Young women want families. Where's your family at then? Young women want the career path that you chose. Young women want to be like the girls that they see on TV. And the women that they see on TV have abandoned family in order to pursue a career. This is not true.
They blame it on women. Well, look at what young women have to choose from. The pickings are slim. Yes, we might have a feminism problem in America, but it's the feminization of men. There are a lot of young women out there that want to get married. They want to have kids. They want to have stable families. But there are a lot of young men out there who want to live in mama's basement and order DoorDash. And therein lies a big part of the problem.
Gen Z men get henpecked for 12 years by the most obnoxious and dumbest generation of women in human history, and then get dumped into a labor market alongside robots and Somalians, and now some die job TV bitch is calling them lazy. Get fucked. The woman who is saying that young women want to have kids, men just aren't trying hard enough, is married to a millionaire athlete and still has no kids at 32. The troubling part is that women are allowed to vote. In 100 short years, women have destroyed Western civilization. Exactly, and this is the point that I'm trying to make. I'm not saying I agree with what he's saying, but this is a perfect example of what I'm seeing more of online. This is why I say that I believe in the next 20 years, women are going to lose the right to vote. I'm not saying it should be that way for the clippers, for the clip farmers, for the people waiting for the gotcha moment. I'm not saying it should be that way. But what I am saying is once the boomers are out, there's another generation of people who have been affected by feminism, who were raised in it, who were told that the future was female, who were told that, who've seen the separations of families and how it affected people. And then beneath them, Gen Z is another generation, and we're sandwiched as millennials in between the two. Gen Z is a generation where they're on social media. They're seeing young women be delusional. They're seeing young women say they'd rather be in the woods with a bear than a man. And these are the people that can vote for policies that will send them to war. And they see that 50% of the population hates them. Why would they be willing to go to war and fight for a society that offers them nothing? Why would they fight for a society that they can't even own property in, because when they go to work, they can't even afford to buy a house? These young men have been demoralized. They don't want to go do anything because they know that when they do things, what's the reward? So young men are expected to uphold society, but what does society offer young men to do the dangerous, dirty jobs that they have to do to uphold society and to be willing to go and die to protect society in war? What does the society offer those young men? If you go to work, you do the honest thing, you get taxed out of your ass, you're not making enough to make a livable income, you're never going to own property. Even if you do buy a house, you still got to pay the government every year in property taxes, or they could just literally come take what you've worked hard to earn. Say if you do the right thing and you do take on the responsibility of a family, you work for 30 years, 40 years, you build up this big old 401k. Because of the no-fault divorce laws, women are able to take these men to court, and the number one reason for divorce is irreconcilable differences, meaning the woman just got bored. And so she took the man to court and took half of everything he worked for. So if society offers young men nothing, not even the security for keeping the money that they work hard for in a marriage, then of course young men are going to stop working hard. That's just the natural consequence of not offering them anything for their services. You want to demonize young men in society and tell them that they're the cause of every problem in society, but they should just be good people and do the right thing just for the sake of being good people and doing the right thing. Yet you demonize them for everything. No, yeah, it's not. It's just not going to work out that way.
They're having to use anthropologists to figure out how to appeal to young white men. How do we talk to this strange and breed of American citizen that we've never wanted their vote before, but now we do? Hillary Clinton was doing a rally, and it was like, I'm going to be the president for African Americans and Latino Americans. And she just went down the list, right? And my staffer goes, well, she doesn't want my vote. She didn't ask for my vote.
Yeah.
And he's a white male. You spent 15 years essentially ignoring that vote. And in fact, not only ignoring it, interest groups going out of their way to marginalize.
Yeah, exactly.
That demographic group.
Yeah, now the Democrats are talking about spending $20 million in trying to get the male vote back. They're saying they need their own Joe Rogan to motivate men to vote for their policies. But the truth of the matter is, when your policies don't align with objective reality, young men are going to turn away from them. When your policies push young men and marginalize young men away from the movement, when you literally say the future is female and that women don't need men, of course, men are going to turn on it. And now you're saying women don't need men. Please vote for us. Of course, men are going to turn on your stupid ideology. Men are going to turn on your party. And so that's what happened. And you're not going to get them back by just spending money. That's not how it works.
And then you're shocked when that demographic group doesn't think the Democratic Party wants them to be members.
File this as well under the category of, after years of reporting the sky is red, Chuck Todd drapes himself in gravitas and revelation and credibility to report to us finally that the sky is blue. Thank you. We've known for quite some time how Democrats have alienated young men. Okay, now, speaking of young men, my own sons better tune this out. A Wall Street Journal headline got our attention. The new dream job for young men, stay-at-home son. It's a phrase that's taken off since 27-year-old Brendan Leo won $59,000 on Jeopardy. And he has a master's degree in political science, but he's unemployed and lives with his parents.
Yeah.
So are stay-at-home sons here to stay? Joining me now is the Ruthless podcast team. Josh Holmes, Comfortably Smug, John Ashbrook, and Michael Duncan. Take bets, take odds. Which one of these guys lives at home right now at age? It's Duncan. It's Duncan. I saw the way he bowed his head.
Come on.
Amazing blast.
Unbelievable.
Will, you've started this perfectly. This is exactly our sweet spot.
Yeah.
Now, listen, as compelling as arranging flowers and monitoring Amazon deliveries could be to your average person, I think that, most men with even an ounce of testosterone would find this a touch demeaning.
We have to bring back shame in this country, Josh.
We do.
Like, it's crazy to me. Like, you would have to waterboard me like Khalid Sheikh Mohammed to get me to admit that I'm a stay-at-home son. Like, what?
Well, I mean, speaking of waterboarding, I blame the dads, to be honest with you.
Yes.
If I suggested for one moment to my father that I was just going to kind of stay at home and not have a professional career, not row the boat at all, he would have waterboarded me in the front yard.
Stay-at-home sons. It might be an improvement. Don't we keep hearing, Smug, of like stay-at-home 30-year-olds, like dudes that haven't moved out by the time this is 20 to 20.
Yeah, but see, the problem is like these are all older talking heads who get paid exorbitant amounts of money in order to give an opinion and a take. By the way, that's what the U.S. economy is built on OnlyFans whores and men having podcasts. And we're a podcast economy. We are an economy of ideas. We don't produce very much outside of ideas at this point, and it's getting kind of tough out here. But either way, what I'm saying is it doesn't matter that these people in luxurious situations are trying to shame men. Men don't care. I think that's the part that they're missing. If men are starting to stay at home to the point where they have a whole phrase behind it called stay-at-home sons, it doesn't matter how many talking heads get on TV and spit on them and kick them when they're down. If the problem isn't solved, they're not going to feel anything. They're not going to feel the drive to get up and do anything. And these are the young men, by the way. The podcasters like me, we just talk about ideas. They are talking about the young men that are not becoming engineers and not becoming plumbers and carpenters and the things that we need to actually keep society running. If women aren't in the workforce, we might miss out on a couple secretaries and teachers. If men are not in the workforce, we're talking about water sanitation. We're talking about, again, plumbers, military, police officers, firefighters, the things that we need in society. And it doesn't matter if you kick them and spit on them when they're down. If you don't solve the problems that is causing young men to not go into the workforce, which is really they can't get a livable income. Even if they do make a livable income, oftentimes the women who make the same amount as them for sitting in an office and typing, they look down on them because they're making equal to them, and they believe that they have to settle if they're dating someone that's making equal to them. That's the mentality of a lot of young women today. So they're not going to get a family or get a woman that's interested in them. And even if they do work hard for everything, it could just get taken. So yeah, until you fix those conditions in society, young men are just going to feel not motivated to work hard, because young men will choose freedom over responsibility all day. And usually men fall into responsibility when they have people that they love that they have to be responsible for. When they don't have a family, they don't feel that, and they will choose freedom. And if freedom means sitting at my mom's house, eating pizza, maybe going to work part-time or doing DoorDash just to have enough money to buy my pizza and buy my video games, that's what a lot of young men will choose. That's just how it works. How the cookies crumble.
4-year-olds, I'm not as concerned about them as I am as the failure to launch 30-year-olds, which I think that's also a real thing. Like, grow up, get a job, get a wife, build a family.
So I'll give them a little bit of grace. There was a statistic that came out. It was in the Journal. I want to say it was about a month ago, that 90% of positions that went to companies in the S&P 500 went to non-white males in this country over the past 5 years. Yep.
Whoa,
that was
crazy.
Stunning to me. That's stunning.
Insane,
and the reason for that is because we had an era of DEI, which was pushed, and it was basically excluding. There's a reason why Democrats are like, why can't we communicate to this group? It's not a communication issue. It's a policy issue. You demonized a group of people. You told them they weren't wanted. And so I see this as somewhat of an outgrowth of that. So I can give a little bit of grace. At the same time, that era is being wiped clean. You have an administration that believes in, for the first time, it's shocking, equal opportunity. Can you believe that? Yeah. Everyone on the same footing, best person wins the job.
Well, if that's the case, then we got to watch out for those Asians. They're going to take up all of the positions in college. All the Ivy League schools are going to be completely dominated by Asians. And that's just the truth of the matter. People have to regulate to control how Asians go into college and dominate and take up all the spaces in college. That's what they've been regulating against. Asians face a lot of discrimination because they are high achievers. It's a very interesting thing.
But I think when you see this administration, you see the policies, it's already gotten the economy going, it's got people excited. I think young men aren't going to have to worry about being stay-at-home sons. They're going to be out there getting it done.
Let's hope that's true. Let's hope it is true, that it's a new playing field, and therefore we don't see stories like
So yeah, just another episode of people shitting on men, young men in particular, to appeal to young women. Another way to blame young men for all of the problems in society. But the issue is now young men have been so pushed aside and left behind that they don't care. So that's going to be the biggest issue in the next 20 years, trying to get young men to care. And I think to do that, you're going to have to really focus on family court. If women want equality, give them genuine equality. Make it so that if you separate your family without a viable reason like abuse or infidelity, then you don't leave with anything. You don't just get to leave your marriage because of quote-unquote happiness. Make things a little bit more fair, especially in family court. Maybe that'll make a man want to start a family when he realizes he actually has some authority over his family. And the authority, he can't just be undermined by a woman who uses the state as her enforcement arm, who will move and bend to her will just because of her words without any proof. Make it so that men are not guilty until proven innocent when they go into family court, when they want to be a part of their children's lives. They don't have to prove that they're a good father to be a part of their children's lives, which is a weird thing. But let me know in the comments below if this video was a W or L, and give me the HBO special. That's a Help Brother Out special. Hit the like and the subscribe button for more content. Till next time.